Pitch Perfect 3 brings back the Borden Bellas in a third adventure starring the all-a-cappella girls group. So it's following around their lives after college and after they were the Borden Bellas, and that name has since been handed down to another group. Their careers all suck and their lives suck, and all they really want to do now is they just want to get back together, sing some more songs, and the adventure begins. They join a support for the troops something or other competition going around different countries with other singing groups that are trying to win some kind of a contract with DJ Khaled. I don't really know the guy, but he's famous nowadays, they tell me. To be honest, I was probably as surprised as you were to hear that they were making a third Pitch Perfect movie. I mean, even the second movie didn't really need to be made. Yes, it can be funny at times, but is it necessary? You can only go so far with these movies before it starts to feel like the same thing over and over again. So let's get into it. First up is the people category, going over the acting, characters, casting, importance, and chemistry, all of which gets perfect points except for acting and importance, and those get half points because, first of all, this is a comedy, so there isn't a ton of focus on the acting range or anything like that, though there is some well-done acting here and there. It's not seriously focused on, so it doesn't really matter. Importance-wise, some of the characters really do have an important part individually in adding to the plot in this film. However, because there's so many girls in this group, a lot of them really just blend together. So it's just focusing on the main characters, which is fine sometimes. But you have to admit, a lot of these characters are just kind of blending in together, and they don't, they're not all that important in the end. So that gets half points. Everything else gets perfect points. These are characters that you really like to watch, hence a third comedy movie. You don't usually see sequels all the time in comedies, and this is a third one, which tells me it's pretty successful there, specifically for the characters. Casting, obviously this is the third movie around. If it casts anybody else at this point, it would be a failure, so that's good. Chemistry, of course, a big part of this movie is about these girls feeling like they're part of a family, so the chemistry is great. People category gets 8 out of 10 possible stars. Next up is the writing category, which goes over the dialogue, how balanced the movie is, the depth of the story, the originality, and how interesting it is. The dialogue and the depth of the story gets perfect points, but everything else gets half points. I gave full points to dialogue mostly because a big part of dialogue during musicals like this is the music itself, and the music is really well done as usual, so I am giving that full points. As far as the story depth, like I was saying, with the characters and their families and their estranged relationship with them, and then their relationships with each other and how important that is a big part of what the movie is all about, so the story's good. Everything else gets half points because as far as how balanced the movie isn't just about the competition. It starts going into action movie territory, which is funny, but as a balanced film, it doesn't fit as well. So that gets half points. They all start to feel the same at this point, so originality isn't all there. They did add some things, so I'll at least give it half points, but it's not super original. Interesting, yes, because it's a Pitch Perfect movie. No, because at this point I'm like, okay, I get it, that it's telling the same basic story they've been telling the whole time. So that gets half points. The writing category gets 7 out of 10 possible stars. Next up, we're looking at the BTS category, which goes with the visuals, the directing, editing, advertisement, and the music, all of which gets perfect points except for the visuals and the directing. Those get half points because, one, as far as visuals are concerned, it's fine. It's basically what you expect from Pitch Perfect, though, so that gets half points. The directing, I don't think there was anything challenging specifically about the directing that anybody else couldn't do, so that gets half points. Editing is one thing that you'll notice from the get-go. They have some quick montages and some longer montages that were dealt with specifically with the editing, and they were really well done. So I will give full points to that. Advertisement, it is as advertised. There's no false advertising there, so full points there. And as for the music and sound, music is a huge part of the importance of the movie in general. That gets full points as well. BTS category gets 8 out of 10 possible stars. Next up is the narrative arc category, going over introduction, inciting incident, obstacles, climax, and following action, all of which gets perfect points. The inciting incidents gets us reacquainted with the girls. The inciting incident is when they find out they're going to be going off and singing for the military and the Air Force and all that fun stuff. The obstacles is basically trying to compete with all these different groups. Of course, the climax, I won't get into it, but of course it's big and explosive, literally. And the following action calms down, returns to a new sense of norm. Something that I wanted to see. So 10 out of 10 possible stars for narrative arc. Next up, we have a hodgepodge of different scores for the entertainment score, which goes over how rewatchable it is, how much of a fun experience you have while watching it, if you have an impulse to buy it, impulse to talk about it, if it sucks the audience in. In general, I think this movie is actually better than Pitch Perfect 2. Not terribly better, but I think more in the ways that it's more memorable than Pitch Perfect 2 was, because I'm having a hard time even remembering what happened in Pitch Perfect 2. That's how forgettable that movie was. So rewatchability, I would rewatch it with the other ones as a series rewatch. I might even watch this on its own if it comes up. I probably won't be looking for it to rewatch it though, so that gets half points. Did I have a fun experience and good time watching? Yeah, I think so. That's one of the benefits of watching a Pitch Perfect movie, is it's a fun movie. It's a fun franchise. So that gets full points. Impulse to buy it or own it, to be honest, I bought it. And because I had a gift card, I could see it really quick and I didn't have to wait or anything like that. So I got that, but then again, after watching it, do I have an impulse to buy it? Probably not so much. This is something that maybe you would buy cheaper than full price. That gets half points. Impulse to talk about it other than this review? Not really. I think I basically covered it in this review, so that gets 0. Does it suck the audience in? Here and there, yes. Some of the action in it will gain a lot of viewership. A lot of the songs are pretty well done. I think there's 3 different original songs in the movie that are honestly pretty good. So that'll suck the audience in. But some of the stuff can be boring too, because it just feels like the same old stuff. So that gets half points. The entertainment score gets 5 out of 10 possible stars. Specialty category. Here are the 5 questions that I wrote down before I saw the movie that I wanted to know about before I saw it. First of all, does it fit in very well with Pitch Perfect? It fits in very well. It's hilarious. The songs are great. 10 out of 10 possible stars for that. As a sequel, did it have to be made, and did they add anything new? They added some things new, but there was also stuff that was just basically rehashed at the same time. Did it have to be made? No. So this gets half points. 5 out of 10. As far as comedy goes, I'm always waiting for these movies to be very funny, and to be honest, I did laugh out loud quite a bit while watching it. 10 out of 10. This is the 3rd movie, so in effect, we have a trilogy. So at the end, we want to see some kind of finale, something that wraps things up. Do we? Yes. 10 out of 10 possible stars. Finally, is the movie halfway decent? I think so. I couldn't do it, and I think they made the movie that they wanted to make, so that deserves praise, and I will give 10 out of 10 possible stars for that. If we add up all those points, we get 83 out of 100 possible stars, 83%, which is a lot higher than I think a lot of people will probably give it. But that really just has to do with giving it credit where credit is due, and I laid those out. Guys, tell me what you thought of Pitch Perfect 3 in the comments down below, and as for YouTube, you can subscribe to me, hit that like button, and hit that bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, which shouldn't be until next week. But until then, guys, peace out.